Hi, this is Steve Seacon. I'm an architect. I wanted to discuss some of the most misunderstood aspects of the whole construction experience. That's municipal approvals. Before you actually build in whatever place, town, city you live in, you need the permission of the actual municipality. And the agency of that municipality is usually a building department. They're usually in charge of issuing building permits. And the permit process is a little bit confusing to many, and I just wanted to break it down so you know what to expect in a typical project. When you start the permit process, there's an application. It's usually in writing of some form. It's usually either in paper or it's digital. It could be online. And there's a series of questions and different kind of attributes and contact information and descriptions that are necessary to describe the project. In addition to the application, there's usually drawings. Then there's usually fees. There's a lot of different technical information that has to be submitted along with it. So there could be surveys and test pit information and percolation tests and all kind of different things. With this information, usually there are several boards that work with the building department to help opine on the different aspects of your project. For instance, there can be an architectural review board that gives opinions on how the project looks. Does it fit in the context of the neighborhood? There can be a planning board that reviews the possible traffic impact. There can be a zoning board that gives some kind of opinion on the fact that the addition you're planning may be too close to a property line. There can be historical boards that also try to make sure that things are consistent with the appearance of perhaps an old village. There's environmental boards that make sure that what you're planning doesn't harm the environment. So there's all these agencies that work with the building department and advise them. And usually only after they give their consent will the building department or engineering department really look at your application. In addition to the application requirements and all the board requirements, you should be aware that the contractor who's actually going to be doing the work has to provide insurances. Usually there's workers' comp, general liability, and even some other ones. They also have to provide the different licensures that are needed for the municipality, sometimes the state. If there's any bonding requirements, that also has to be provided. And you should also be aware that permits have a lifetime, and they differ from town to town. Typically, it's a year from the issuance of the building permit, and if it takes longer, well, you have to get an extension, and you have to provide a reason why you need the extension, because you also have to bear in mind that your project really creates an inconvenience many times for neighbors and dirt and noise and so forth. That is not something that's really desired. Additionally, you have to know that sometimes building permits have conditions. The conditions can be very straightforward. They may want what's called an as-built survey, meaning that they want an actual survey of the condition of the project after it's done, just to make sure that what you proposed is what was actually built. And after they get that, then they will issue a new certificate of occupancy or whatever the different form of consent is. But it's a multi-step process. It does not work like on HGTV where it's done in an episode or 1 week, and you should be aware of what you're getting into before you actually start. If you have further questions, I'd be delighted to talk to you. My number is 914-980-5532. Steve Seacon, Architect. Thanks a lot for listening.